All right, so for this particular question, it says use the zero product property to solve x times x plus 2 times 3x minus 10 is equal to 0, and x times x minus 8 times 5x plus 15 is equal to 0. So let's go with the very first question. Now, using the zero product property to solve x times x plus 2 times 3x minus 10 is equal to 0. If you look at that product, there are three factors in that product. You see the factor x, you see the factor x plus 2, and you also see the factor 3x minus 10. So according to the zero product property, each of those factors, either of those factors could be equal to 0. All right? So either x is equal to 0, that's the first factor, or the x plus 2 is equal to 0, or the 3x minus 10 is equal to 0. Now, when x plus 2 is equal to 0, in order to solve, you know the deal, we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. And so that's how we're ending up with x is equal to negative 2. When the factor is 3x minus 10 is equal to 0, then what we'd have to do is we would have to add 10 to both sides. Right? And then we'd be left with 3x is equal to 10. So then we would divide by 3. So x is equal to 10 divided by 3. So that's what we're getting there. So what we'll see is that the values for x for the first problem, x that would make this statement true, x would either be equal to 0, x could be equal to negative 2, or x can be equal to 10 divided by 3. We can approximate that as a decimal. So that's 3 1/3 or 3.33. Looking at the second problem, we're using the same kind of principle. According to the zero product property, x times x minus 8 times 5x plus 15 is equal to 0. So if that is the case, each of the factors must be equal to 0. So what are the factors? We see x minus 8, and the third factor we're seeing is 5x plus 15. So using the zero product property, either x is equal to 0, or x minus 8 is equal to 0, or 5x plus 15 is equal to 0. We're going to solve each of those. When x minus 8 is equal to 0, we know that x is equal to 8, and that is found by adding 8 to both sides. So we know that x is equal to 8. And let's think about when 5x plus 15 is equal to 0. Then what we would do is we would subtract 15 from both sides. So we now have 5x is equal to negative 15. Then we would divide by 5, which means that our x would be equal to negative 3. All right, so the solution for, or the values of x that would make this statement true would be x is equal to 0 from the very first factor, or x is equal to 8 from the second factor, or x is equal to negative 3 from the third factor.